So today, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to apologize. I was going to do a podcast on this last year on the 30th anniversary of their first appearance on In Living Color, but it completely slipped my mind. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for controversy. Get ready for something that I haven't had a chance to say in quite some time. Men on Film. Now, Men On, colloquially known as Men on Film, is the umbrella title for a series of comedy sketches that appeared in episodes of the Fox sketch comedy series In Living Color, which, of course, broke through Jim Carrey to the international level. Now, the series of sketches feature two gay cultural critics, Blaine Edwards, played by Damon Wayans, and Antoine Merriweather, David Alan Grier, commenting on aspects of pop culture, including movies, art, and television. Now, the title card for the first Men on Films sketch started on April 15th, 1990, and what that expanded to was not the original episode. That's probably one episode that is about as calm and uncontroversial as possible, but it got completely into bizarre. Now, Men On again first appeared in the premiere episode and continued through Wayne's tenure, and the sketch was also revived on a late-night comedy series Saturday Night Live when Wayne's hosted years after he was fired from the show. Now, Men On engendered controversy for his portrayal of black gay men. Both Blaine and Antoine were portrayed as extremely effeminate. Some LGBT people and organizations at the time felt his portrayal was insulting to gay men, although response within the community was split. The reason why it was split, there is gay men that act like this. Very flamboyant, very intellectual, and you look at kind of RuPaul's alter ego at the time. Now, African American cultural critics have also identified Men on Film, or the Men On series, as having affected how African American men view homosexuality within their communities. Now, the first installment established a basic pattern for the sketch series. Over the strains of It's Raining Men by the Weather Girls, which was covered by RuPaul and Elton John, an announcer introduces the public access program Men on Films. Now, this is where I found it was doubly funny, because just like Wayne's World was an access program, or the skit, so was Men on Films. This type of show could only appear on public access in the big cities in the States. I got the joke, some people didn't. Now, Blaine and Antoine introduced themselves and explained they will be discussing films of the day from a male point of view, so you can gather what's going on. They review Do the Right Thing, The Karate Kid Part 2, and Great Balls of Fire, and upcoming video releases for Black Widow, Miss Firecracker, and Dangerous Liaison. In each instance, the film is reviewed with extreme gay male interpretation, regardless of any actual gay content or sensibility. In some cases, the review of the film is based solely on the film's name or the name of its stars. Now, Do the Right Thing is praised for its supposed message of, do the right thing, come out of the closet, don't be afraid to be who you is. That's how Damon pronounced it. Whereas Karate Kid is panned for not exploring the possibility of a pederastic relationship between Mr. Miyagi and Daniel LaRusso. I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, there's got to be some sexual fan fiction out there about that. But here nor there. Now, Black Widow and Miss Firecracker, both of which feature women in leading roles, are dismissed with a simple, hated it. Blaine initially praises Dangerous Liaisons for its courage in casting Glenn Close in a female role. Antoine informs Blaine that Close is actually a woman, prompting Blaine to exclaim, "Ooh, clutch your pearls, what a sneaky thing to do." The pair signify approval of the film by giving it 2 snaps up. Well, my father thought Glenn Close was a man for many years, and she played a male role years ago, but that's neither here nor there. Now, subsequent sketches would explore other aspects of popular culture, including art, books, and television and sports. With each installment, the sexual puns would become crueler and more abundant, the costumes would become more flamboyant, and the snaps up would become more and more elaborate. Now, speaking to NPR in 2012, Grier explained the inspiration for characterization. I'd already done Dreamgirls on Broadway, and being in a musical and working with other performers who were gay, I was privy to that vocabulary backstage. They were being themselves. So a lot of this was hijacked from what I heard in the theater and what was permeating around. Now, at that time, if the gay person was going to read you to tell you off, it was also always accompanied by snaps. Now, I don't know if it was a gay thing, but it was also a very black thing. Because black subculture, the language that is used, is true to their culture, and that's what Men on Film touched a little bit about. Because if you watch the Maury on a regular basis, where 90% of the, what I call them, contestants are black, you know what I'm talking about. Now, the many Men On You had Men on Films, April 15, 1990. Then Men on Art, Men on Books, Men on Films 2, Men on Vacation, Men on Television, Men on Film Return, Men on Film Festival, Men on Football, Men on European Vacation, Men on Videotape Rentals, Men on Cooking, Men on Fitness, and of course the Men on Film sketch featuring, God bless him, Chris Farley's Roger Ebert. Funny as heck. Now, Fox was initially hesitant about the Men on sketches before the series premiere. According to series creator Keenan Ivory Wayans, Marlon's brother, the chairman of Fox sat down with him to try to persuade him to pull Men on Films from the premiere episode. Now, Damon reported that after Fox moved The Living Color from original 9:30 p.m. Eastern time slot to 8 p.m., Fox censors began exercising more editorial control over the sketches. David would say something to me in a Men on sketch, and it will cut to me and I'm smiling. What was said was taken out. It happens a lot. Now, the Men on series was controversial within the LGBT community. At the time, Blaine and Antoine were the only recurring gay characters on network television. Well, that's stretching it. Buddy Cole in Kids in the Hall was a CBS late night at the time. So they're one of the only recurring black gay characters on network television, also making them, again, the only gay black characters on the air. As evidenced by a 92 survey by the San Francisco chapter of the GLAAD, opinion was split roughly down the middle on the sketches. Half the respondents found the sketches humorous, while the other half found them offensive and dangerous. Gay African-American filmmaker Marilyn Riggs sharply criticized the sketches, saying that it perpetrated the notion that black gay men are sissies, ineffectual, ineffective, womanish in a way that signifies inferiority. Well, I saw the sketches as empowering because they were very strong characters. No offense, they were proud to be gay, and they made literally no bones about it. That's what I saw, unless as a movie critic and a TV critic and columnist, I'm not supposed to see that. Now, in an appearance on the Phil Donahue show following Living Color second season, Damon responded to critics of Men On by saying, well, first off, all the sketches on the show have to be looked at within the context of the show. It is not as though we isolate any particular group. We make fun of everybody, and so I don't think anybody should have a chip on their shoulder when it's a free-for-all. And the other thing, too, is the sketch is not a bashing sketch. We don't do jokes about issues relating to gay people. It's really a play on the extremes of the stereotype, and that's it. I watched all the sketches, and I can tell you, it's basically in their universe, they're presenting both of them as running their universe. Now, author J.L. King, whose writings explore the download phenomenon within the African-American male community, cited Blaine and Antoine, along with drag performer RuPaul, as images of what the word gay means to African-American men who have sex with men, to explain one reason why such men do not identify themselves as gay. Now, flamboyancy in a heterosexual is not condoned, but a gay person that's flamboyant, it's kind of accepted because that's part of their culture, and the accepted part. If a gay man wants to be promiscuous, is careful, it's not looked down like the AIDS era. And I think these two characters, promiscuity was just part of their character sketch. They were very opinionated on what they liked. They didn't want women like women because they weren't attracted. They wanted to see more men. Now, cultural critic Angela Nelson places Blaine and Antoine in the context of what she identifies as sophisticated sissy, along characters like Lindy, Antonio Fargas, from the film Car Wash. These characters depict African-American homosexual males as effeminate and or cross-dressers. The sophisticated sissy characterization frequently appears in dialogue between two ostensibly heterosexual black male characters, often in the context of one character accusing the other of being weak in his handling of women. It is often accompanied by a stereotypical limp wrist or hip swishing gesture. Now, Buddy Cole, Scott Thompson, is gay, but he played straight as well on Kids in the Hall, certain characters. He played black. So if Buddy Cole is acceptable to do something like that as a gay man, why is it not acceptable? A lot of people that liked the In Love with Color sketches praise the fact that these heterosexual actors were recognizing the strength of this type of gay people within a context of what they call the young gay urban professionals, GAUP, which was a term for a while. The young gay men that were coming up after the AIDS crisis were saying, I'm out, I'm proud, I'm opinionated, I'm going to say it. And like I said, I have no problem with gay people that act like that, or people can act any way they want. But the way Wayans and Greer presented it was so funny, because that was a very talented cast. David Alan Grier was very underrated. But the Wayans brothers are not known, they're not the Three Stooges of comedy. They have a certain type of comedy, like what they call the low-end comedy. But Men on Film, like I said, when that first came on, I couldn't believe it, because I'm saying, I got Kids in the Hall on the Canadian TV, and I get this on the American TV, and Saturday Night Live is pretty well dead. So it was like it was a golden time, because, you know, like, gay people were finally getting a voice in comedy that wasn't just stereotypes. Buddy Cole is not a stereotype. He runs a bar, he's a businessman, he supports sports, he's, you know, he falls in love at a drop of a tight pant. But like I said, as a heterosexual man, I've talked to a lot of gay people through the years about what they talk about this type of comedy. And some people, like I said, really hated it, but the certain people really enjoyed it. It's up to different people. I am part Jewish. I love certain Jewish comedians, right? Jackie Gleason, who passed away, Rodney Dangerfield, you know, what are you going to do? You know, Woody Allen. Does that make me less of a person because I'm not fully Jewish and I shouldn't get all of the Jewish humor? I can get gay humor, Italian humor, like the famous Joe Pesci talk show skit on Saturday Night Live. I get it. Sometimes a joke is a joke. Like I said, if you're offended by me bringing up the fact that people are not offended, some people are not offended by the Men on Film sketch, well, that's kind of ironic, right? To each his own. If you don't like the channel, change the channel. If you don't like the movie, walk out. And if you don't like the TV show, protest. But back in the day, we did get the Fox channel in living color, I think, if I'm not mistaken. It was either on Global or it was on CTV. I don't think we didn't have a Fox channel in Canada. Because there was no Fox East Coast, you know, in the U.S. that we could draw on cable. So, anyway, Men on Film, two steps up. And if you don't like this podcast, well, too bad. I'm not here for you to like or dislike me. I'm just presenting facts. As a public service, if you don't like the show, keep it to yourself. If you like the show, tell your friends. You know what I'm talking about? Have a good day. Bye.